Hello and welcome back to Mech Warrior 5.2, brought to you by Commando Gaming and Battletech Battles, where we take Mech Warrior 5 and we add on a whole bunch of mods that are available at Nexus Mods. Once again, the mods that we use are available at Nexus Mods. There's well over 50 mods by now, and since they all have support from the game developer, they're very easy to install. There's minimal errors associated with these mods, and the majority of the mods modify a small aspect of the game, whether it's where the enemy spawns, the impact and range of weapons, the tonnage restrictions, etc., etc. So what you can do is you can stack those mods, and they will pretty much, unless they directly contradict each other, which you have to make some smart decisions on which mods. I mean, you can't use a mod that changes a weapons group to certain physics and then use another mod that changes to a different physics. They're just going to cancel each other out or contradict. So you have to make some smart decisions. But currently I'm playing with 12 mods. And I'll put a list of the mods that I'm currently using in the description for the video. So please check those out. Right now I have already set up a 2 mission contract. The first one is a demolition and the second is a war zone. So I'm going to take a Banshee, Cyclops, a Orion, and a Black Knight. I'm bringing heavy hitters because this is a demolition mission. So we want to make sure that we succeed in demolishing the base as quickly as possible. So typically with these demolition missions, I try to focus on destroying the buildings, and I let my lance defend me while I go in and finish this off. Now, this is a difficulty 32 mission, and you're asking, how am I taking 4 assaults on a demolition mission? Or technically, the Orion and the Black Knight are simply heavies. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have the mod that takes away the tonnage restriction. And the reason I do that is because in Battletech, there is no tonnage restriction. A mercenary unit is going to take its best mechs with it on a mission. It's not going to say, well, I don't think we're going to take that assault because, these are low-level enemies. No, any mercenary company is going to want to destroy the opposition by maximizing its firepower and minimizing its damage by completing the mission as quickly and thoroughly as possible. That's the way this works. Alright, so we are in a relatively warm environment, so we got to keep that in mind. Let's take a look at how that impacts our heat. Alright, so when we shoot our dual PPCs, we get up to around 30, and when I do my weapons group 2, I get to around 15. So we got to keep that in mind. Alright, but again, I'm going to be doing a lot of building smashing. In an ideal situation in a demolition mission, you want to be smashing a building and then shooting at another structure at the same time, so you can do double the damage. We got a field of boulders. This is not good for us. Oh, we got an Igor in the distance. Let's see if we can take that out at long range. I think I got it. Alright, so one of the biggest... Oh, I didn't take out the Igor. There we go. So one of the biggest challenges for this game sometimes is when you're in these fields of boulders, it's real easy for your lance to get stuck on boulders. It's absolutely a thing in this game. Alright, so we got some... let's help our lance through this initial group of enemies here. sure our lance is focusing on the largest threat, and then I'll have them work on taking out the locust, and I need to press forward to the primary target. Really? Sending a scorpion after us? And this is where it becomes much more realistic if you use the appropriate mod, because, again, no mercenary unit is going to take less than their maximum firepower with them on a mission. Alright, so we're going to start engaging the target at long range. And it looks like one of my lance is already tied up in the boulders. See that? So one member of my lance is already tied up in the boulders. I should be able to finish this without them. So we're just going to focus on doing as much damage as quickly as possible. We'll let the rest of our lance worry about any enemies that come in. I'm going to focus on smashing through buildings as quickly as possible. Alright, we got some enemies coming in. Help our lance a little bit. Make sure our lance is focusing on taking out that cicada, and I'll go back to smashing here. So again, we want to try to shoot at one building while we smash through another. That's really the ideal, along with finding the weak points like fuel lines and energy generators that you can take out, so you can do more damage at once instead of grinding through the buildings. Alright, almost got this thing down. Alright, we've done enough damage. So now we can actually focus on taking out this cicada, maximize our potential salvage. There we go. Alright, the rest of the lance. Whoa, that puppy's blowing. Alright, so let's, I don't know if it'd be nice if another enemy lance dropped right now, because I would like to maximize the salvage, but I don't think that's going to happen. Alright, and as you can see, my lance is relatively minimally damaged, and this is what a mercenary unit would accomplish by using overwhelming force. That is basic military strategy. Oh, we got an enemy dropping? We do. Alright. Alright, so this is a good opportunity for us to get some additional salvage. So we are going to stay and fight this enemy lance for sure. Just makes good sense for us to do that. It's a force we can easily handle. Irby coming in. That's definitely something we want to engage at long range. Alright. Alright, we got a locust. Make sure we're finishing off that locust. Another locust. Make sure we're doing that. Ideally, we'll get a couple of these locusts for salvage. Notice how the AI is shooting each other in the back. one of the problems with taking a heavy lance is your lance is going to do as much damage to each other as they are to the enemy. That's just kind of the way it goes. But as you can see, our lance is in pretty good shape even after some significant battles here. Alright, we're going to try to avoid that boulder farm. You know, it doesn't really matter if my AI gets stuck in the boulders here, but I like to try to practice avoiding these boulder fields because the AI just does a horrible job of getting stuck on boulders. So we might as well practice finding the best path for our AI through boulders. They're actually, in many cases, they're a bigger threat than the enemy yourself. I've had many a mission where I'll have to fight short-handed because some of my lance is completely stuck in boulders, and for no matter what I do, I can't get them free. So just have to do the best you can there. We're just waiting for this to load up. Alright, so damage taken is well below our damage coverage, which is great. That means this is pure profit. So we can take a cicada. That's going to be most of our salvage, which is fine. Cicada is pretty good salvage. Alright, and then we'll take AC2. Nice haul on that mission. Now we immediately have to continue to the second mission, which is a Warzone mission. So I'm going to take my Stalker. I'm going to take an Awesome. I'm going to take my Zeus. And I will take an Archer. Alright, so all of the mechs that I selected have a lot of long range potential, which is great because if you download the Better Spawn mod, the enemy is going to actually spawn at a reasonable distance from you instead of dropping right on top of you as it does in the unmodded version of the game. And that is really big because it actually allows you to use strategy. It lets you use the terrain. It lets you make smart decisions. You can actually retreat and give yourself some distance from the enemy. There's a wide range of things you can do. Alright, we're kind of stuck. It's not generating our mechs. So what you kind of have to do is kind of click around to the home screen until eventually your mechs load in. Because until your mechs fully load in this graphic, the loading of the game is going to be paused. So sometimes you just have to go to that home button and spam the confirm launch button. It's not really that big of a deal. So we are taking a Stalker, an Awesome, a Zeus, and Archer. And as I said, my lance here is geared towards long range firepower, right? Because my Stalker has missiles and dual PPCs. My Awesome has 3 PPCs and a large laser, again geared towards long range. Our Zeus has an AC2, LRM-20, PPC, and 2 medium lasers. So again, geared towards longer range for the most part. And the Archer is a missile build. So what we want to try to do, one of the fun things about the Warzone mission, now that the mod actually fixes where the enemy spawns, is we don't have to stay at a particular place on the map. We don't have to worry about destroying buildings. All we have to do is destroy as many of the enemy as quickly as possible. And so what I tend to do is find a strategically advantaged place, preferably where we can start the engagement at long range, and then we just try to grind out as many rounds as we can. And we'll try to stay for some extra rounds as long as we don't take more damage than it makes sense, because that's the key with Warzone missions. It's worth it to stick around as long as you're just losing some armor and you get minimal structural damage. But once you start losing components, those components quickly become more valuable than the additional salvage and payment that you would get. So that's where it's very important with a Warzone mission, especially when you can handle it on a more strategic, tactical basis. You want to make sure you figure out at what point your Lance needs to bug out of there.
Allied forces are attempting to withdraw from this area and need us to screen their retreat. We're to link up with the remaining friendlies screening the retreat.
Alright, so we got an enemy force coming in here, and we're supposed to help. Right? So one thing we can do is we can engage at long range. Right? Nothing says we have to close in. So since our Lance is geared more towards longer range engagements, they're going to try to stay in longer range as long as you make their long range weapons their primary weapons by assigning them to group 1 and 2. So as you can see, we're taking out this Lance at long range, not suffering a lot of damage, which is going to benefit us for staying around longer. Now we're going to call our Lance back. We still have to go in and trigger the actual incident. So the first round, we're going to kind of fight near this location. But after that, the enemy is going to keep triggering. So what I try to do is I find a geographic location that's close to where we're going to be fighting, that we can actually retreat to and have an advantage. For example, up in the hills, there's a number of areas we could go where the enemy is going to have to fight us by coming through a valley or coming up a hill. All those things are going to give us an advantage strategically. Now, without the better spawn mod, the enemy would simply be dropping on top of you. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually see how the enemy is dropping pretty far away from us. I'm actually going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to get to that geographic location. Alright, so we got a javelin coming in on us, so we can't get there all the way because we're probably going to take a little too much damage. So what we're going to do, we can turn about now. And then we're halfway to where I want to retreat to. Alright, everybody focus on that javelin. Let's take him down as quickly as possible. Alright. So now what we can do can keep moving back to that geographically preferred location. It also forces the enemy to kind of walk through the defenses there. Alright, so we're going to keep trying to make smart decisions here. Have my lance focus on the biggest threat. I'll work on some secondary threats while I give them support at long range. Alright, we got one more cicada out there. So I'm actually going to move to where I want to be strategically. How far will that let me go? Yeah, it'll let me go fairly far back. So what we can do is we can actually put our backs to this geographic feature. Alright. Everybody work on that cicada. The enemy, the lance will tend to gravitate towards where I am. Which is where I want them to be. We got an Irby. Let's take this Irby out before he does too much damage. Overheated a little bit there. Alright, got this locust over here. Lance should be able to pick him off pretty easily. Alright. So we're going to actually move. Got a little bit of room, so we want to keep moving so we can increase our distance against the opponents to maximize our long-range firepower. Alright, got another cicada. Alright, I'm out of missiles now. So I'm down to PPCs for long range. Which is fine as long as I manage my heat. Let's focus down on that Irby. Alright, the enemy's going to keep converging, so we're going to keep pulling back. Alright, so our awesome has already taken a pretty bad pounding, so that might limit how many rounds, extra rounds we can go here. heat's going to continue to be more and more of a problem. Not much I could do about that, except maybe focus on some secondary targets for a round.
You must have really kicked off the beehive here, Commander. More hostiles inbound.
Alright, so we're going to start heading towards the evac zone, because both our Zeus and our Awesome are to the point where they're going to start taking some component damage. So we're probably going to handle one more round, and then we're probably going to take off here. So let's start moving towards the evac zone. See if we can take some of these guys out at longer range. There we go. Oh, we got a BJ. Alright. Sometimes when you're the heavy hitter, you're going to have to take the chance of overheating from time to time. Alright. So there's one harasser left. I'm going to let the rest of my lance work on those. We got another lance dropping, so
We have your target, Commander. I just messed that mech up. Enemy destroyed.
alright.
On shared target.
Alright, there's one target left. My lance should be able to handle an Irby by themselves, so we're going to head off towards the evac zone as quickly as possible. Again, my biggest concern here is I don't... Yeah. See, our Zeus is taking a lot of damage. Come on, guys. There's 3 of you against an Irby.
Additional contacts just crossed the
Alright.
perimeter, Commander. Expect company soon. Roger. Moving in file.
Alright, come on, you guys. Start retreating. We're not going to engage that last lance. Last thing I want is too much damage or to lose a mech. Kind of at that place with our Zeus. Luckily our Zeus is the fastest of the rest of our mechs, so it's following close behind me. Should be alright. Probably stayed around too long for that mission,
To board at Met Bay number 1. Welcome back.
but it'll be fine. I don't know if we lost any components. We may have. And the big thing is do you lose a component that you would have to pay for? Now, if you have components that are already sitting in your mech bay, that's not nearly as big of a deal. But if we're talking about components that you have to buy replacements from in the store, that's a problem. So hopefully the Zeus didn't lose too much there. We did lose a fair amount of damage taken. And we only got an Irby. That's disappointing. Let's see, but we got an AC-20. we got some decent salvage there. And remember, the damage taken amount, as you can see, our Zeus got beat up pretty badly. We probably lost some components there. So, again, we probably stayed a little too long there. As you can see, I took out 9 mechs, 17 kills, and I kept my damage to a minimum. So, successful mission for me. A little rougher for the Awesome and the Zeus. Alright, so that was a nice, quick mission. Alright, so we're going to go to Brighton here. Brighton here has plenty of choices for us. We can probably do 2 more missions. Before we travel, though, I want to take a quick look at my mechs and see, is there some mechs that I can repair? Not the Zeus. See, I can probably repair this Archer. It's not going to cost me too much. Let's see. Maybe the Cyclops. Let's see. The Black Knight just has some armor damage. We can probably... overpaying a little here. Not quite sure I want to do that. How about my Banshee? Okay, I'll repair my Banshee. Let's see. Oh, and then I can repair my Stalker. How about for the Cyclops? That's a little too much. So generally speaking, if you can find a couple mechs that you can repair without too much damage, that's going to mean that we can actually stay in the field a little longer before we go back to the industrial hub. So I always want to make some smart decisions about repairing in the war zone. There are some situations where it is time and financially effective to do some minor repairs, very minor repairs, while you're traveling in the war zone. Alright, so we got 4 available contracts. We've got a 3 mission operation. Now, do we have the battle mechs available to do 3? Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got 7 mechs. I should have repaired this Orion, actually. It's not that bad, so we're going to do that. And you know what? I'm going to pay to fix the Black Knight here. And the Cyclops. Normally I wouldn't do that, but what I want is to do this 3 mission operation. So we've got a demolition, a raid, and a war zone. Alright. But we're not going to do that this video because I have just enough time for 1 more mission here. But I do want to stick around, see if I can stick around to do that mission, which means I'm going to pay a little extra to do some repairs. That's fine. Alright, I got a quick assassination mission here. So we're going to take that mission. So level 28. So what I want to do is take my lower tier mechs for this mission. So an assassination mission, we could probably get away with a Jagger mech, a Cataphract, and 2 Thunderbolts. I think we would be fine there. So what we have to do is click through to confirm Lance. Confirm Lance. Again, sometimes you have to do this a couple times to get your mechs to appear. Sometimes you have to like, there we go. So I switched the Thunderbolts and then they loaded. So that's just kind of a glitch that you just kind of have to deal with. Alright, now we're loading. So since this is an assassination mission, we're going to do a lighter lance because I want to preserve the heavier mechs for that 3 mission operation. And I'm probably going to have to pay for some additional repairs before we can do that operation, but that's fine because the multiple drop operations is where you really can clean up with some salvage, which we can sell. As you can see, operationally, we've got a fair amount of cash here. We got nice battle mechs. We got plenty of cash. We've got some weapons in storage. Financially, we're doing really good. And again, part of that is with this game, is once you've played through the game once and you know what the career or campaign mode is, why not take your time and enjoy the universe? You know, try to take as many missions as possible en route to the campaign missions. There's nothing that says there's a timer on how quickly you have to achieve the career mission mode. They will just wait for you. So why not enjoy the universe? Take plenty of missions, explore new mechs, gather technology, gather weapons, gather C-bills. Whatever you want to do, you can do in this universe because there's no timer. It's not like you're going to get a notification, oh, wait, sorry, you didn't get to the career mission fast enough, you lose. Doesn't work that way. So, you know, I rushed through my first playthrough. I rushed through the campaign because I wanted to show everybody the story. Now that we've seen the story, and you can see that in previous videos, we might as well enjoy the universe, explore all these cool mods that we have available, and do what a mercenary company would do, which is slowly work through collecting pay and trying to make the most money for the least amount of damage. Alright, so we got 4 targets here, 4 possible locations for this assassination. Now I dropped with a lighter lance, but that's okay because for example, I've taken the Jagger mech. I'm very effective with the Jagger mech, even though it's a lower tonnage mech. So we should be fine. This is a relatively low level mission. Should be able to handle this without too much trouble. I'm taking my lighter mechs to preserve my heavier mechs for more intense missions. That's just lance management. Remember how I said sometimes you shouldn't be limited, and then a company should always have the ability to take its heavier mechs? That is absolutely true, but that doesn't mean that they're going to want to do that every time. Sometimes, for business decisions, you might want to take lighter mechs, but I don't like the fact that the base game limits what you can take on a mission. It's a very arbitrary, unrealistic way of dealing with those situations. Right, where'd that light mech go? Alright, let's take out that locust. Where'd that locust go? That locust is playing cat and mouse with us. There it is. Alright, so let's go to this next closest target here. Could easily be the primary. Alright. Alright, this is probably the primary target here. Yep. So here's a tip. If you have an assassination mission and you think you found the assassination target, make sure you don't take it out before it triggers the confirmation that it is your target, or you're going to have to redo the mission. Alright, I'm going to hand that Vindicator off. I'm going to switch to the Griffin. Come on, guys. You should be able to handle that Vindicator by yourself. Alright, took the gun, the PPC arm off the Griffin. I'm within minimum range of his LRMs, so basically he's pretty much helpless. Alright. Alright, the enemy's dropping behind us. Alright. Why is this Oh, okay. It's a Phoenix Hawk. I was about to say, why did they not take out that Vindicator yet? Alright, we got a Hunchback coming in on us. Alright, that's all focus. Alright, I lost a leg. One problem with tanking in a Jagger mech, it's not really built for it. Focus on trying to take out the weapons of this Hunchback. There we go. Alright, now we can head to the evac, which is where? This way. Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, the rest of my lance is doing fine. I've been wrecked. Again, that tends to happen when, you know, I'm tanking in a mech that's not really designed to be a tanking mech, so that's fine. That means the rest of my lance I can actually do some minor repairs on, and they can stay in the fight a little longer. The Jagger mech is definitely going to have to be repaired at an industrial hub, especially since we've lost a component, which is fine. The Jagger mech at this stage of the game is kind of a throwaway mech, which is why I take it, because I can do more with it than the AI. And while the Jagger mech did take a fair amount of damage, you have to keep in mind that the damage amount that it gives you after a mission is how much it would cost you to make those repairs while you're in the war zone, not when you're at the industrial hub. So the amounts are severely mitigated, or greatly mitigated, because it's a positive thing, by the fact that you're in the industrial hub. Hopefully we can get that Hunchback as salvage. That would be nice. No, but we did get a Griffin, which is just as good. I'll try to maximize our salvage. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into... Now the rest of the mechs here didn't get that much damage. The Thunderbolts, hardly any damage. Cataphract, hardly any damage. So those three can be repaired. And we can stay in this war zone longer. As it stands right now, the Jagger mech needs to wait until we get to Industrial Hub. The Awesome has to wait until we get to an Industrial Hub. And the Zeus has to wait till we get Industrial Hub. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mechs available once those other 3 are repaired. And then you can stay in the war zone longer. In the meantime, we've got a Griffin for salvage. We've got a Cicada. We've got a Irby. We're building up our salvage, so we're going to have plenty of things to sell when we get back to the Industrial Hub. And that's going to do it for this video. So please subscribe to our channels, Commando Gaming and Battletech Battles, if you enjoy these videos. And smash that like button with a PPC so we know you want more of these videos, because we'll keep putting them out there for you. Also, I have received inquiries. We are going to start up our Jeff Talks Mech series up again. We'll probably have one of those videos issued probably in the next 2 or 3 days. They take a lot of production time and equipment, and unfortunately I've been traveling for work and I haven't had access to my equipment while I'm traveling, obviously, so I had to postpone that slightly, but we'll try to get out 2 of those Jeff Talks Mechs videos hopefully in the next week or so. Talk to you soon.